This is Popcorn Junkies reviewing Queen and Slim, the new film starring Daniel Kaluuya and Jodie Turner-Smith, both British actors in an American film. Being billed as the Black Bonnie and Clyde, it's about a couple who meet on Tinder, go on a date, and accidentally find themselves on the run from the police for essentially shooting a police officer in self-defense. That's not giving anything away, that's not a spoiler, that's in the trailer, it's clearly there to see. Really, this film starts, doesn't it, with that scene, pretty much like the trailer. Within the first 5 minutes.
It's not slow.
It's not slow, you're in it, and these guys are on the run.
To interject here is to just say that we as a family are huge Daniel Kaluuya fans.
Massive Daniel Kaluuya fans, and I was extraordinarily excited. I thought it was a beautifully crafted trailer, actually. So, and the director, Melina Matsoukas, you were at a screening where she was last night. She's the director, she's a pop video, MTV Video Music Awards. She's made lots of kind of pop promos. So we've got this scene, competently executed. I thought first shots reminded me of Edward Hopper's paintings. I thought, oh yeah, this is feeling good. And then pretty much they're on the road and they're on the run.
Yeah, it's definitely like a modern Bonnie and Clyde, I feel. So it's about outlaws and everything, but at the same time they're innocent people, because it's not like they shot the police officer out of spite. It was self-defense. And it was in the heat of the moment, he panicked. The police officer did shoot the girl as well. It's not like he didn't hurt one of them. I feel like it became, it was also a love story. I thought definitely between Daniel Kaluuya and the other girl. And it was a film about family, even though there wasn't much family in it. And I feel like a lot of the film's message as well was people wanting to be something and being known by the whole world, which is something I always talk about with this generation. It's kind of like people don't think they're going to ever be successful in their life unless they become something that means the whole world knows who they are. But I mean,
that's a bad thing.
And it becomes a running theme in the film. It's kind of like, I mean, Daniel Kaluuya's character is like, doesn't really matter as long as my family knows I existed. Then I'm satisfied. But then you've got people like there's a little one in the film. There's a kid who said, I could die tomorrow and the world doesn't really know who I am. I feel like
so it's
very much a film about wanting to be visible or not seeing the point in fact being visible. Which I really, really liked.
Let me just interject one thing there to say that in the initial shooting, which we get very early on because it's in the trailer as well, is that we find out that the girl is a lawyer, and that sort of, in a way, conditions what happens with the policeman, because she's telling Daniel Kaluuya what he can and can't do.
I thought that was curious, wasn't it? She was in control of the narrative at that point.
She was, and it all goes spectacularly wrong because of that.
I didn't like her from the get-go, her character, forget the performance. And I don't think you're meant to like her. She's clearly an awkward person. She's clearly sort of angular, and she's a bit, she's approached him on Tinder but doesn't want really anything to do with it.
Supposed to be pretty annoying.
And she is annoying, and she succeeds at being annoying there. And so you feel for Daniel Kaluuya, but she does, it's interesting, when the police pulls them over, and it is really, for me, the most interesting part of the film is how that moment, because in that moment, it reminds you that in the few rapid decisions made in that moment, your entire fate rests. It's petrifying. And she's very much in control of it from the get-go. And I found that kind of, if anything, curiously one of its weaknesses, because if she was a lawyer, I don't believe that scene would have run how it ran, because she had been shot. There would have been a dash cam and all that. So I maybe wrongly, and it probably frustrates you, Maddie, I was approaching that scene quite realistically, because I felt it was presented realistically. So I thought it was
because obviously I've seen this twice in a row now. I saw this last night as well at the
Mobo
Awards. And when I saw it, I had the audience that was aimed at, and it was very vibey in there. Everybody was kind of reacting to everything in the film. Everybody, like, whilst the film was going on, was kind of discussing their opinions, which I really liked. And it was really interesting seeing how the black community was watching the film. Although I feel like I was feeling it in a very similar way. You feel the injustice no matter what race you are watching it. I mean, I don't know, it didn't really bother me. I know she's a lawyer in it and everything, and one could look at that scene as, if she were a lawyer, she would have known the best way to deal with the situation. But I think it's very easy watching a film and to say how you should have acted in the situation. Realistically, I think even if I were a lawyer and I knew the right and wrongs of everything, if I'd just been shot in the leg and the guy was in the car with had just shot a white police officer and I was black, I would be like, okay, we need to run. Because no matter what, I know that no matter what they would have done, even if they'd stayed or handled it in the correct way, there would have been an injustice because they were black, no matter what.
Daniel Kaluuya does reference the fact that she's, in a way, because they're not lovey-dovey at this point at all, they're almost like prickly with each other, but they're stuck together because of what's happened. He does say, oh well, that was not the best thing that you could have done. I mean, he's not that...
I also feel like the character, she knew that what she'd done was wrong, but was too, not egotistic, too proud to admit that she'd done the wrong thing, so she wanted to stick by her word. That's how I felt about it, and also I felt like by the point that she realised what she'd done was wrong, they were too deep in it to get out of the situation.
And after that scene, they're effectively on the run, and then they're on the run bouncing between they immediately go to her uncle, who's a pimp, and has
I love the uncle.
A house of hoes, I think is the phrase.
House
of hoes. I don't know why I wasn't convinced by that whole setup.
No, I wasn't, and it annoyed me because I just thought,
I didn't think the pimp would answer the door so meaningfully and sort of responsibly.
I just thought, for a black audience, why would he have to be a pimp with all those girls? And I didn't
feel like he had to be. I didn't see it like that at all. I didn't see it as it had to be. They
could have made him somebody else.
No, but he was supposed to be a kind of like, you didn't know whether you should trust him. Or if you should
I suppose it was playing with preconceptions.
Because if you would just look at him, this fairly old guy with a load of young, very dressed up girls, you'd just be like, ew. I feel like this film was quite good at that. Obviously, there were just evil people in it that, you can't even justify your actions, like the police officer at the start. But there was more to people than just what they were. If you were to just look at that uncle who was a pimp, you'd just be like, ew, you're gross, no. But there was more to. He was funny. There was a charm about him.
There was a charm.
He did care about her too, and he did care about her. Although, that's not how everybody would necessarily care.
No, that's very true.
But I was really convinced by his whole bit, and I felt like, judging by the way that you guys didn't react to those scenes like the audience I watched it with did. But it was a generation thing, and it's a race, a cultural thing as well.
I mean, I did wonder whether I was not getting a lot and yet at the same time, I got an awful lot from films like Waves and
but Waves
Last Black Man
more
in
of
San
like
Francisco.
No, but those are more like very clear, funny. It's clearer in a way it's done, whereas this is more like it's a laid back kind of. You get it if people you.
I think laid back is a really good description for this film. I mean, I almost found for the nature of the drama they were in, I found it almost too laid back, and I felt that it could have spent a bit more time. I didn't feel as stressed as I wanted to. I didn't feel particularly stressed. There was the stressy bit with the first cop, the sheriff, when they took the truck and all that sort of stuff. But I tell you where my biggest problem with this film lies. I didn't feel any genuine fizzle with her.
No, I didn't.
And I thought Daniel Kaluuya was giving it everything.
Charm.
I mean, charm, but also vulnerability, and he was kind of caught in a man-in-a-hole situation. I had a real problem with her, whether it be her character, her performance, but potentially how she was written and how the whole film was written. I found it a bit gappy.
It was very meandering, I thought. And
it's a road film. Movie,
It is a road film, and the scenes were gorgeous. I mean, it looked gorgeous where they went.
All right.
Yeah, but I mean, like Florida, wherever they go at the end, it looked fantastic. But
I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some iconic shots. But for example, let me give you an example of where I thought it was really sloppy. I thought they over-featured the scene where they got their iconic clothes. I just felt, oh my God, this is so obvious. You're rustling through a whore's wardrobe to get your dress that's going to then go in the poster that we've all seen in the trailer. I found it slightly sixth for me.
Yeah. Whoever wrote it or directed it, they weren't taking me with them.
Okay, here's an example. What were they trying to do? What were they trying to do with the scene in the petrol station where the white petrol pump guy takes the gun and points it and gives them free petrol? What was that about?
It was just a scene of tension, I felt.
Yeah,
but
very true.
I felt it...
And testing whether people knew who he was yet.
Yeah, and also the fact that he said, "You don't look like a killer to me."
Yeah.
And also,
even though he killed someone because he isn't a killer.
And he wasn't. Yes, exactly. So he was saying.
Yeah, I felt that scene was quite important.
Well, I felt it was very powerful, but I couldn't work out why.
No,
well, I needed that
because it was so unbelievable that
like
someone would ask to hold your gun.
I don't think.
I felt that was believable.
Did you?
Yeah, with the guy in the middle of nowhere. And
they've done that in loads of films. Even I don't know if you remember
Really?
Superbad, where the boy with the glasses is
That's
obsessed with
true.
all
He's
the
obsessed with all things.
and one of the Coen brothers they did.
I don't know. I suppose what I'm trying to say is, don't get me wrong, I liked the scene. I thought it was a very strong scene, but I felt this was a film with lots of scenes that had significance, but I didn't feel the director wholly knew what the significance of any of them was.
No.
Yeah, but you could say that about a few scenes in The Lighthouse.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
But I feel so many films do that.
I found the pimp guy uninteresting. I thought the Chloë Sevigny white guy was cringeworthy.
It was awful.
I thought it was cringeworthy in its unbelievability.
But didn't you find that some of that, or an awful lot of that, this is just my point of view, was that when Daniel Kaluuya wasn't on the screen doing his thing, which is charm, I have to say, it's like sort of they were gradually falling in love, and they did that quite well. Very well, but I felt they were doing it through Daniel rather than the girl.
For me, Daniel Kaluuya carries the whole film.
Yeah.
But literally, when I watched it last night, like the whole audience, every single scene were like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Like even with the bit when Daniel Kaluuya's hanging out the window, I was like, hang on, there's no music whilst he's hanging out. Is someone going to shoot him? When he's on the horse, is somebody going to shoot him?
Yeah, the horse was charming, I thought, but then I'm a big fan of horses.
But it's just, I felt like it was a very tense film, and I really felt like I was following them. And Anya, I saw it with my friend Anya. She agreed with me. I almost felt like I was on the road trip with them.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
the girl did annoy me at first.
She really annoyed me.
She really annoyed me at first, but she really grew on me as soon as she started falling in love with him as well. Kind of as soon as like she had her new look. Because I felt like because you said that you thought she was kind of like. What was the way, like trying to be hip or something?
Yeah,
like she was very
self-consciously.
But I felt like that was her character. I felt like she felt like she had to be kind of.
You're right. She's either expertly annoyed me, because that's what she's meant to do.
Sorry.
She really succeeded in fucking annoying me.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw not one reason for him to like her.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I did.
Not at all.
No.
I didn't like her faux toughness. I didn't like her faux. I just thought. There was nothing likeable about you.
No,
other than I can only wonder whether this is when I start to revise everything I'm thinking, because by the end of the film, I thought this is meant to be artificial at the edges. This is meant to be ridiculous, like the horse moment. I found the horse moment unbearably stupid. They're running from the fucking law, but they've got time to get on a fucking horse. Are you joking? But I thought there were moments where you just thought, well, hang on, urgency, no urgency, and then I thought, well, hang on, have I got this film completely wrong? And this is where I'm sort of throwing this over to you as possibly where I've misunderstood it. Is this a film about creating a myth, like the Bonnie and Clyde thing? I think if you look at the title, Queen and Slim. Is this about creating a myth culturally?
It definitely is.
But this film itself, not about creating, about creating a Queen and Slim story that is the Bonnie and Clyde story that lasts and becomes sort of almost magical and meaningful culturally.
Yeah.
Because if it was that, then this film is the creation of a folktale.
Yes, it was.
And in that sense, I could then justify all those bits that I didn't think were very convincing.
Yeah.
But I was totally captivated from the start with it. Yeah. And partly I loved how it wasn't a slow film at all. I felt like it cut to the chase immediately, and I really love when a film is brave enough to do that, because I feel like a lot of films, especially today, they meander and they kind of don't really know how to start off the film, and I really love it when a film can start off with. Because let's face it, where he kills the police officer is the central bit of the storyline, and they used it at the beginning, which is really bold and really brave.
It is.
And I really enjoyed.
It's after
and
that.
I feel like but I think you guys thought that was the highest point, and I felt like the film just built on from there.
Okay. I had a genuine feeling that something really wasn't working for me with this film. I don't know whether it comes down to personal flavour, personal taste, or whatever, but it didn't set my world alight in the way that the trailer absolutely did. Going back to expectation, I went into this thinking this was going to be absolutely whip-soaringly smart and classy, and I thought the trailer was brilliantly edited, I thought this was all rightly shot. I thought there were some iconic shots, like the photograph taken of them. I mean, I'm curious to know when it was set, because who would take a photograph with an old-fashioned camera?
Yeah, true.
You know, so perhaps it was a bit 70s-ish, a bit 80s-ish. If this is about myth building, the whole thing, you could argue that the whole thing was meant to be slightly extreme or stretched.
In that case, if that was the case, then I could go along with that, except I would still have to say that her character fails.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Fails.
I found her wholly unsympathetic.
Yeah, and me. Right,
and I found him
the end.
entirely sympathetic, which kind of does a disservice, because you want your female lead to be an incredibly sort of, you want to identify with her more, and I just found her bloody annoying, because I found there were moments where she'd be affectionate and then not affectionate, like when she held his head in bed, and then suddenly it was like, don't come near me, and then they're having, I thought the sex scene
from the start
was a bit...
she said that she's had trouble opening because she's spent her life alone and she's not close to family, and you can tell from the scene where they're in the bar and they're dancing together, as soon as they're getting too close, she's like trying to take herself. There are so many people like that. I know so many girls that are so terrified of letting a guy in, or letting a guy feel like she likes them, because they're so terrified of it not going well. I thought her character was really believable, especially within the relationship. I felt across the film she became sweeter. She was a very delicate soul, I thought. She wasn't a strong character like he was, so maybe he definitely outshone her in his performance.
I didn't think he was a strong character. He was
following. Yeah, but I think what Mandy means is strong insofar as you felt
mannerism.
It was a strength in the amount. What did you think of the scene, the political scene with the march and the demonstration? Intercut with them, his bottom bouncing up and down.
No, but it was supposed to kind of show the thing of them not having any clue that what they're doing.
Well, I'm pleased you said that, because I thought if this is meant to be quite dark to be funny, because it's the same scene where something awful happens with the boy. Essentially.
But it is. I think it is to kind of show that they have no idea the impact.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I thought...
While they're getting on with their love story, this is all happening back at...
The darkness is happening.
Yes. How did you feel that was handled? Because it is a film about them slowly realising that they've become the poster boy and girl of essentially Black Power.
The thing is, we're sort of discussing it almost at odds, because although I thought I can see the way that scene was played with the boy and everything, they just met the boy and there's a reference to that later, but I felt the way the scene was played, I didn't believe in that boy.
It's like the mechanic. I don't agree with you, but my younger generation does. I just thought it was a bit like, you don't need it that obviously.
No.
Anyway, we won't give away the end, though I'm sure you can well imagine what happens at the end, but shall we sum up? Let's lead with Nanny Di. Hit us between the eyes, Mum.
As a family, we absolutely adore Daniel Kaluuya. I felt that when he wasn't on screen, I missed him. He seemed very much in the beginning to be as sort of annoyed with her as I was becoming in the audience, but then slowly, of course, it is a love story. It was saying all the stuff it should have been saying politically, you know, that this was happening to black people every day, were being stopped and being It was a meandering film that kept losing me.
And yet you were very moved by the end.
Oh, very moved, because he's
You can't not be.
No, you can't not be. Bits of it looked lovely. I thought the final scenes where they were going to where, you know, it's like sort of paradise in a way, wasn't it? So it looked gorgeous. I like not knowing who was nice and who was nasty, and they did a mixture.
Yeah, they
of
did
black
play
and
with
white
that. I like that. What would you give it?
I would give it, oh my God, that's a difficult one. 56.
56, wow.
More than half, definitely more than half, but mainly for Daniel.
Nanny Dunn might have to be escorted from the building.
I've seen this twice in a row now, which says a lot in itself. When I saw it last night, first of all, the vibe was amazing there, and it was really nice watching it with the audience that it's aimed at. From the get-go, first of all, I loved how it quickly got into it. And I love Daniel Kaluuya so much, and she annoyed me a lot at the beginning. I felt I was totally captivated with them from the start. I felt like I was on the journey with them. I believed them 100% from the get-go. She really grew on me after the uncle, being at the uncle's place. Like, as soon as they left that, I started to like her. But if you can't see why fall fair, you also have to see it as they were all that they had. Like they only had each other. It's not like they could go out there.
They fell into each other's arms.
No,
and
because they were sharing an experience, you know, you fall in love with people that you have shared experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I loved all the characters within it. I loved how, like you said, the characters you initially wouldn't trust were the trustworthy ones, the ones that you would think you would be able to trust, and up being the ones that turn on you. First of all, I love like the songs by artists that they've put in it, but I also love the piano song when Daniel Kaluuya
I thought that was gorgeous.
Really taking in his new appearance. And everything.
That was.
I found it quite emotional when they got their new appearances as well, because I felt for them it was not so much. We don't get to see it so much with her, but definitely with Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
It's sinking in how much shit they've gotten into. That they've got to totally change the way they look. That they've got to be these new people that now they're going to have to spend their lives really. As a film, it managed to fit their entire lives in the space of 5 days, which I found really beautiful. And I totally believed their chemistry and their love for each other. I loved the way it was shot. I thought it was beautiful, and it was so iconic, like all of the colours and their outfits, and especially that photo of them taken on the car, which I absolutely loved. And I loved the boy that was at the protest. I loved that whole scene. And obviously the ending has broken me forever. I don't know why I got myself through it a second time in a row. So yeah, I would hands down give this film 100 out of 100.
Wow.
And it's one of my favourite films of this year.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, as I say, I went into this really excited. I'm a huge Daniel Kaluuya fan. I thought the trailer was remarkably tight, and I thought this is going to be great. It was weird for me. About 20 minutes in, a real dawning realisation hit me that I wasn't enjoying this as much as I thought I was going to. And I hate it when that happens, because you can't lie to yourself.
No.
You can't sit there and go, I'm not getting it, or this isn't working.
No.
It was a slow dawning realisation. And I really then went into a bit of a panic mode, because I knew that, Maddie, you loved it. Obviously I respect your opinion on films. We agree on so much. And I was thinking, what am I not getting? So this is a hard one for me, because I'm probably going to have to say I clearly either didn't get half of what you're meant to get from it. Because all the things that you've kind of described. I mean, Daniel Kaluuya, I felt, was the most comprehensible part of the film. I comprehended him. I understood where he was going, even when I didn't quite like where it was going. Like, he was believable in every scene. I found there were just too many moments, which I'm surprised, looking at the list of things that she's been nominated for Best Outstanding Newcoming Director and all this. I thought some of the scenes were beyond pedestrian. You know, for example, the beautiful music that you mentioned when Daniel Kaluuya's looking into mirrors and all that stuff. It's a bit cliched and a bit hackneyed, and I feel like I've seen it in too many ways. I didn't feel much jeopardy throughout it. I wasn't worried.
No, I
really wasn't worried. No, I really wasn't.
I wasn't.
I kind of knew we had a 2-hour film, and I thought, well, they're not going to get me gotted for the first hour and a half, so there's not going to be any jeopardy here. So I didn't feel any jeopardy. The scene that I honed in on of the gun thing, weirdly, I did feel jeopardy there, but it was removed when I thought, this is happening, all right, we're really early on in the film. You won't get shot.
Yeah, but one of them easily could have died.
Yes, there was that.
By themselves.
There was that. I thought it was too long. I was surprised that, given that she's a music video maker, that the cinematography wasn't better. That's not to say it wasn't good. It was good. It was good. I didn't think it was sensational in the way that, say, for example, it was in Waves. And I just keep coming back to, I think the biggest problem for me was I did not invest in her at all. I didn't care about her. I didn't believe her. I didn't trust her. I didn't like her. And if that's what she was meaning to engender in me, then she succeeded. But I don't think she was meant to have engendered it. If she was supposed to be that stony-faced, hardcore, inspirational martyr figure, then I'm the wrong viewer for that, because I'm a white male. But maybe she's meant to be this kind of, I'm not going to take any shit, I'm equal to the guy and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't care for her at all. Apart from in the final scene, which I don't want to ruin. And I think, thank God Daniel Kaluuya was in this, because otherwise it would have been a massive disappointment. I would give this film, there were lots of plot points. I thought it was badly written. But there were lots of sweet moments and funny moments too in there too. I'd give this probably 65 out of 100.
Oh wow, okay.
So more than you, but listen. Sorry, Maddie. It didn't do it for me. It really didn't, and I wanted it to.
I wanted it
desperately wanted it to, and I thought it had everything about it that it would.
Yeah, I did too.
Obviously, we don't get it. Obviously we don't get it.
For more film and family fun, don't forget to click the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell to never miss an update.